Today we're going to dive into a theory that pretty much turns history on its head. Our source material suggests that some of the world's most incredible ancient buildings, cathedrals, massive fortresses, weren't just buildings at all. They might have been pieces of a lost technology, a giant global network designed for a purpose we're only now starting to piece together. So, let's just start with a big, central question here. What if these structures we look at as places of worship, or maybe military forts, were actually something else entirely? What if they were pieces of powerful, forgotten hardware designed for a function we can barely even wrap our heads around today?
You see, this whole theory hinges on the idea that our official history has been, shaved, as the source puts it, that we're missing huge chunks of the story. And it claims these ancient structures weren't just sitting there looking pretty. Nope, they were active components in a massive global system, each one with a very, very specific job to do.
And here's what that job was. The source calls them biological recalibration stations. Now, the core idea is kind of mind-blowing, but also simple. The buildings are the hardware, right? And the human body, that's the software designed to plug right into them. And their one and only function? To retune our biology, our bodies, back to a perfect original state of what's called origin health.
Okay, so if these places were these super sophisticated machines, how in the world did they work? What were the components? Well, our source material breaks it down into two key pieces of technology that work together perfectly: light and sound.
Let's start with something we all know and love, those gorgeous stained glass windows. According to this theory, their beauty was almost an accident, a byproduct of their real function. They weren't just there for decoration. They were incredibly precise optical filters, engineered to manipulate sunlight in a very specific way.
And this is where it gets really wild. Look at the detail here. The minerals that were literally baked into the glass, like cobalt for that deep blue or ruby for red, they weren't random. They were chosen to create these targeted frequency beams. So when the sun shone through, it created what's called a chromatic bath. The blue light was aimed at your nervous system, the green was for your heart, like a life force recharge, and red was for grounding your whole system. Each color had a precise biological job to do. It's kind of like modern light therapy, but on this massive architectural scale.
But, light was only half the story. The second piece of this tech was sound. Those massive bells, those incredibly powerful pipe organs you find in these places, they weren't just for making music. They were a powerful physical tool, what the source calls a sonic hammer.
And what a phrase, right? It perfectly illustrates the whole point of that sonic hammer. The specific frequencies of those bells were designed to create this deep, powerful vibration. A vibration you didn't just hear, you felt it deep down in your bones. And the goal was to literally shake out what the source calls the dull code, what we might think of today as disease or stagnation or just cellular imbalance.
So let's put it all together. It was this really elegant two-step process. First, the chromatic bath. That colored light would wash over you and prepare your body's cells, kind of opening them up to receive new information. And then, bam, the sonic hammer from the bells and organs would kick in to lock those healing frequencies deep into your bone structure. The recalibration was complete.
Okay, so we've got this incredible hardware just sitting there all over the planet. But any computer, no matter how powerful, is just a paperweight without its software, without the key to turn it on. And according to this theory, the master key to this entire system, it wasn't on the ground at all.
And this slide really lays it all out. On one side, you have the hardware, the static, physical buildings rooted to the earth. And on the other, you have the software key, a dynamic, mobile activator, something called the golden diamond geometry.
So this golden diamond or octahedron shape is supposedly a form of perfected geometry. It's the physical manifestation of that old saying, as above, so below. And right where those two pyramids meet in the middle, that's described as a 0 point, a place of perfect balance where instant healing could actually be possible. The geometry is the key.
Now, when these golden diamonds appear and flash, the source says it's not just light we're seeing. It's something very specific called luminous code. You should think of it like a high-speed data burst, a packet of information being sent by, get this, grid technicians, to switch on the entire network of these recalibration stations down here on the ground.
And the activation itself is fascinating. It happens in this two-stage double flash process. The first flash is like a quick scan. It checks the frequency of the person watching it to see if they're, aware or ready to receive it.
If the answer is yes, a second flash follows, and this one is described as a handshake, a moment of synchronization that connects the person's heart directly to the entire network.
Okay, so we've got the hardware, we've got the key in the sky, but this whole system is totally meaningless without the most important part. Us, the human being. So where do you fit into all this? What does this connection actually mean for an individual?
Well, the source proposes that the feeling of excitement or that sudden jolt of energy you might feel if you saw one of these things, it isn't just surprise. It's your body, on a deep, cellular level, recognizing its home frequency. It's like a biological memory that's being switched back on.
And in that moment, in that instant of recognition and synchronization, your entire role changes. You go from being just a passive person living on the planet to becoming an active, conscious component of the system. You literally become a node in the golden grid.
So we'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. The next time you walk into a grand old cathedral or stand inside an ancient fort and you feel that shiver run down your spine, that sense of overwhelming awe, just ask yourself, is that just history you're feeling? Or could it be your very own cells remembering what it felt like to be in a state of origin health?